Hi everyone, Barbara here with another class in MFT's second session of Summer School 2018. The topic of my class is the visual triangle in project design. I'm going to show you how I made this card and discuss the concept a little further along. I'm using Meant to Be stamp set and Die-namics for the images and the honeycomb background. The first thing I'm going to do is stamp the background on Ranger watercolor paper with Versamark ink and heat emboss with white detail embossing powder. I'll be doing a watercolor wash over that using emboss resist technique. I applied some anti-static powder, inked up the background, and turned the watercolor paper face down. Since I want a kind of distressed look, I only press down where I want the image, mainly unevenly in the center. Then I apply the embossing powder and I'll take it off camera to heat, after which you'll be able to see the design much better. I think you can see it there. Now I'm going to apply some water to the areas I'm going to color with a water brush. Then I'll pick up color from my Peerless watercolors and apply it to the paper. If you don't lay down water first, the paper will grab the color and you won't get the flow you need for good blending. Once I have the color like I want, I'll take it off camera to dry with a heat tool to speed things up. This looks a little green around the edges, but it's not in real life as the still photo shows. When it's dry, I will splatter a little clean water by filling the tube in a mini mister and tapping it over the paper. The clean water will move the color a bit and add more interest. I'll set that aside to dry and move on to coloring the images that I stamped ahead of time to save time. I'm going to fly through the coloring since it's not the focus of this project, but I will tell you what colors I'm using since I'm going too fast for you to see. For the beehive, I'm using yellow, red 20, 21, 24, and 27. All these are Copic markers. For the opening, I'm using cool gray 0, 1, and 3. For the base, I'm going to be using E41, 42, and 44. For the bees themselves, for the yellow stripes, I used yellow 11 and 15, and I used the cool grays also for the faces of the bees and on the clouds. I also added some clear Wink of Stella to the bee wings for a little shimmer. I know you can't see that, but you'll just have to take my word for it that it really does add a little shimmer in real life. I'm just using the clear Wink of Stella on those wings. And now my water splatters are dry and I can start to construct the card. I'm adhering the card front to the card base with foam tape. Then I will add a frame cut from black licorice cardstock with single stitch line tag corner rectangle frames Die-namics, also popped up on foam, which I've prepared ahead. There's really a lot going on this card, and the frame serves to keep the focus on the framed elements while defining the white space that surrounds it at the same time. I just want to center that. And then next I'm going to add some die cut strips along with the sentiment strip across the bottom. First is black and white stripes paper pack cut with slanted sentiment strips, Die-namics, and then safety orange cardstock cut with the stitched sentiment strips Die-namics. I'm adhering with foam tape as needed to keep everything level across the frame. The sentiment strip was cut from black licorice cardstock with essential sentiment strips Die-namics, and I will heat emboss the sentiment on it. And again, I'm just adding foam tape as I need to keep everything nice and level. I already have the sentiment positioned in my mini MISTI, so I'll stamp it up and then take it off camera to heat. And then when that's done, I'll adhere it to the card. I like to stamp twice to get good coverage. And I'm using white detail embossing powder for this as well. And now you'll see I have a really nice little sentiment strip, and that's going to go directly on top of the safety orange sentiment strip. There are many design concepts that card makers routinely use, and the visual triangle is only one. In card making, the concept of a visual triangle is to use images, color, or similar elements to help create a well-designed, unified card. Placing the elements in a triangle allows you to see the card as a whole, but also guides the eye over the whole card, so all of the elements can be appreciated. Now I'm going to pop up the beehive and add the other elements with foam tape. The bee trail doesn't have a die, so I fussy cut it because I thought it would add a nice little touch. I like to add elements at different levels to add more interest. Some are adhered directly to the card front, some have one layer of foam, and some have two. As you can see, I have two triangles on this card. One is the 3 bees, the other is the 2 clouds and the beehive. Can you see what I'm talking about there? Once I get everything adhered, the card is done. You can have more than one triangle on a project. In fact, you could probably find a couple more triangles on this card than I have identified for you. But two main ones, I think, I would say. Once all the elements are adhered, you have a good deal of dimension because you have everything at a different level, and I think that just adds a lot of interest. This particular element I felt like needed to have another layer of tape on it. Then I'm pointing out the 2 triangles that I have identified right here. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you are now inspired to try it for yourself. Be sure to check the blog post and enter a card for today's lesson on the MFT blog and to get all of the giveaway information. Have a good day.